Well, hello, White Sox fans. Welcome to another edition of White Sox Daily Life. My name is Ian Eskridge. I'm here with my co-host, the Danny Miller. How you doing, Danny?
I am, I'm doing good. I'm looking forward to tonight's show, man. After a long weekend down at the Donald D. Stevens Convention Center, we put in some long hours over there trying to hustle out those RVs for the upcoming season here. I'm a little tired, but when I got the news this morning that maybe the plans last week were, to open up a baseball card box, and you told me that you were going to get that done this week. I was kind of thrilled. We have some Elvis Andrews news. We have spring training baseball to talk about. Everything in the world is, kind of coming together here, it seems. How's everything with you, man?
Pretty good, Had a busy weekend, but it was fun. I don't know about it. Pretty boring, really. Lots of lots of running around and shows and whatnot, but it was good, you know. So yeah, can't complain too much. Yeah. So as you mentioned, big news yesterday was that Elvis Andrus is re-signed by the White Sox for 1 year, $3 million. So, um, a lot of people are pretty thrilled about it. Um, I kind of have mixed feelings about it, but let me hear your take. Where are you at on the signing of the Elvis Andrus?
Well, you know, I guess the long and short of it on my take is, and we've talked about this a little bit on this show in the past. When people were kind of pining for him, this pretty much this whole off season, it seemed to be, a ticket or a hot topic ticket. Um, he had the best 2 months or month and a half of his career, probably, or for at least a month and a half stretch anyway. If you were to take any given month and a half of his career, I would say that first month and a half that he was here, or the first month or so that he was here, was probably the best month of his career at the dish. And I'm happy that he was able to come in here and do some things, but that month seemed to be the outlier for him. And with a quick look at just 2022 alone on baseball reference, uh if you were to take his first half and second half splits, and I know that's not, exactly the number we're looking for. I think the second half he had like 62 or 63 games or something in the second 64 games, whatever it was. And the first 42 or 43 of those were with the White Sox. His numbers in that second half of the season were ridiculously better than any other given point of the season. And then we saw him tail off a little bit towards the end there too. Like the first month, fantastic. Then he had like I don't know, a week and a half, 2 week stretch where he kind of came back down to normal Elvis Andrews numbers. And then there was maybe a last few games of the season there where he picked it up again a little bit. So I don't know. As a depth signing, I don't see it as a bad thing. I just don't hope that we're hanging our hat on this guy being the starting second baseman for the entire season. Uh, maybe he could start the season out there if they feel like, Romy isn't ready or Lenine isn't ready. But, three-way competition between those guys for starting second baseman, probably not a bad idea. What do you think?
Yeah. Um, if you heard Rick Hahn's comments um, when he was talking about the second base job, he had mentioned that Romy was having a really good. All reports coming back on Romy were excellent, and that the coaches really liked his work ethic, which I've talked about before on here. Is that guy, workout warrior, and puts in the work. And his season last year, you got over the span of the season last year, you had You had COVID, you had an infected tooth, and you had appendicitis, all in 1 year. And when he came up to the Sox, you're looking at, you know, kind of a shadow of his former self last year. It was quite a bit. He looked quite a bit thinner, and he did not have fun last year. And
No.
so he shows up to. I'm sure that you saw the. I think we've talked about it before. Over at Tosar's house in Miami, and he's over there, and he shows up to spring training the other day, and the dude's jacked again.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
doesn't look weak, doesn't look tired. Um,
Now he
and
in that little video clip of him and a couple other guys in Mike Tosar's backyard, they looked like they were having fun. I mean, they were getting that work in and they were doing some things, but they looked like they were having fun. They were smiling, they were joking, clowning, and they were stroking the ball. They were putting some good wood. Man, oof. I don't know my my references here aren't sounding real good. Stroking and good wood. Oh, anywho, yeah, they were putting some good swings on the ball. The sound coming off the bat in that cage was pretty nice. They just looked happy
yep.
and in, like you said, in really good shape. Let me ask you this: Did we talk about this? I don't remember if we talked about this or not when we kind of talked about that video clip from Tosar's backyard. But this guy is making some money, right? Mike Tosar. I mean, he's been part of some major league organizations for a little bit of a while, for a little while now. Uh, why did his backyard look like it could have been in like Oak Lawn?
Well,
You know what I'm
I
saying?
mean, the thing the story goes is that he did have a facility, like a warehouse facility where he had a bunch of stuff set up, but he closed it because he's working with the White Sox. So he just took one of the cages and put it in his backyard. So
Okay,
he's
all right.
down in Miami, and I'm when depending on location, Miami can be expensive. So I mean, who knows, and who knows if that's only a portion of his backyard, whatever, you know.
Yeah, that
So
well, that maybe was like the dirty corner or something. I don't know, man. Like the landscapers hadn't been there in a while. Who knows,
it's
dude?
his
I
it's
don't
his
know.
dog run, no big deal.
Yeah, that's kind of the feeling I got, dude. It was like I've seen some batting cages on the southwest side of Chicago that was like in the dog round, between the fence next door and the garage that look very similar to what's going on there, man. Just saying. Sorry.
Yeah. So anyway,
Sorry, Mike
the
Tozar. I'm not talking crap, dude. It's just, just
talking smack
if you're
about
listening,
Mike
I'm
Tosar's
sure
house.
I'm sure
Um,
Mike Tozar's paying attention to what we have to say over here, right?
well, I mean, really, we're just talking about his backyard and his landscaping. That's all.
No, we're
Um,
very happy to have him on board, by the way.
yeah, absolutely. So Han mentions, Romy, and then he mentions that Lenine Sosa, is also going to be competing for the job. And then he kind of gives like this, kind of, you know, sort of backhanded thing to Leuri, where he's like, and Leuri's there. And that's
Yep.
that's pretty much all he says. So
Yeah.
and then you get the comments from Pedro Grafal yesterday about Leuri saying that more or less saying, hey, he's gonna have to earn a job. So
The thrill is gone.
yeah, um, and like even if you listen to the White Sox talk, hey Grimtall, thanks for the sub, appreciate it. Even if you
Ugh.
listen to the White Sox talk, like the corporate Comcast Sportsnet, NBC Sports Chicago, they mention that, and I've heard this, of course, from some of the, Tony defenders and stuff like that. They say, oh, you don't know that, you don't know that. But on the corporate podcast, they mentioned that Tony went to bat for Larry and got him that contract last year. And to
All right.
me, it kind of seems like, they're saying that he's going to have to earn his spot. That guy, he better pull up, better pull up and play during spring training, because if he doesn't, it's not sounding good for him. You know,
Yeah, now, the remaining however many dollars are on his
11 million.
contract, be damned. It's all we've been hearing the last few weeks is, and now not only are we hearing it in interviews and uh, you know, press releases and stuff of that nature, but we're also seeing commercials and Twitter ads and all, the White Sox Twitter account. We're going to earn your trust back. We've been hearing that over and over again. Well, that's a good way to start.
It is.
I'll tell you that right now. And there are still some Leary stands out there. Why, I have no idea. Like, I mean, they obviously were turning off games just as often as we were last year and not really paying attention to what was happening because, as much as Leary came through during the rebuild years, since the window of competitiveness has opened up, not so much. And yeah,
Well,
I
2020,
don't
he
see.
put up some, he put up a decent WRC plus OPS plus in 2020, but that
Right,
was that was by far. I'm pretty positive. I am not looking at the numbers in front of me, but I'm pretty sure that those numbers that he put up that year were his best career year by far, and it was in a 60 game season, and he wasn't overexposed, because the team
right.
was mostly healthy, for the most part, much better than 21 and 22 anyway. So,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, yeah, there is that. Grimtall mentions how much value is in 11 million in loss versus 11 million in poor production. Taking up a 26-man roster spot. Now, 100%.
yeah. We need
Um,
to get a number cruncher in here. One of those. And I'm not talking just data analysts. I'm talking. Let's get an accountant in here to put stats to dollars and get that ball rolling. But yeah, I mean, you want to earn our trust back? Stick to those guns.
yeah.
Hey, thanks for the follow.
Hey, Thankins, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Is the loss
Uh,
tax deductible? Well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, how about this? I don't know whether it's deductible, because nobody ever is pretty much able to look in Major League Baseball's books. And,
yeah,
from it not being an injury loss, I don't know. That's got to be like some sort of weird. I'm sure it probably is tax deductible if you cut somebody that's owed a lot of money. I'm sure there's got to be some sort of silly
there's some
loophole.
sort of write off.
Yeah.
And you mentioned, God, it's a sore subject for me as well too. But the antitrust laws that keep the books on MLB closed to the general public. And I know it's been bandied about and thrown out there that Congress is going to take a look into this thing. How long do you think before that really becomes a serious issue? There
I
seems like it
mean,
was a hot button point at one point, especially during the lockout last year, where there were some high ranking government officials that were kind of pushing for that thing, and then it just seemed to go away again.
yeah, that's true. I mean, you did see it, especially with the. You really saw it come to the forefront when people started talking about minor leaguer salaries, and
Right.
that was when a lot, and fortunately for those guys, regardless of whether or not they, you got the unionization and all that stuff, um, but at the same time, you're still, at least they got raises, at least they got housing and stuff like that sorted out to a point. Um, Now you hear stories about, like maybe, like that the lodging might be less than stellar, but I mean, at least it's not costing them anything.
Right.
So
It just the only reason I even kind of hit that point again is, well, one, you kind of brought it up a little bit, but the other thing is when we start to see owners like Cohen do his thing, and now We see ownership in Philly talking about they don't care what it costs. It's just going to spend. And and I saw the comments in our chat. I saw the comments on Twitter. Jerry's trying to figure out ways to stifle this in the next CBA. It really makes you wonder how these teams are able to do what they're doing right now. And there are more and more owners seem to be getting on board with this, spend to appease a fan base, whether or not you win. Uh, where is that money coming from, and why is it now all of a sudden coming out, especially in a time where financial woes are kind of a big topic nationwide? Uh, it just feels like there's more money out there than we ever could have imagined. Now, I don't know if that's true, but there seems to be a trend here lately that tells us a little something.
Well, yeah, and especially in the last couple weeks now, you're hearing things around about the fact that the RSNs, the regional sports networks, with a Bally going belly up, the Bally Sports Networks going up, is that
Right.
there's going to be a lot of teams that are going to be left without a bunch of the money that they make in their TV deals. So, the question comes: are all of? I mean, granted, a lot of the teams that not a lot, but quite a few of the teams have garbage-sized payrolls anyway that are getting hammered
Right.
by this. But I mean, there are some fairly large clubs that are on this Bally RSN, and people are, kind of scrambling, trying to figure out, okay, well, what happens if these networks do go belly up, and how is that going to, how is anybody going to watch games if those things fold?
Right. Right. You got to go out and cut a TV deal with a different media company. And then how long is that kind of thing going to take? And, what type of broadcast can you expect from that? Because, we saw the whole Apple thing kind of fall flat on its face for the better part of, at least the first few games that they did. Now, the streaming quality on it was fantastic. The rest of it, not so much. The entertainment value was kind of iffy at best. And if we're now looking at teams that are, multiple teams that are part of a regional sports network that's going to fall on its face and be gone, you've got to find a new network to be able
Yeah.
to broadcast on.
And
And are they
those
going to
deals
be able
take
to
months.
scramble? Right. And then are
So,
you going to be able to scramble to put a quality product out there?
yeah. I mean, you're counting on this income coming in to pay salaries, and you've got teams that have agreed to 30-40 million dollar a year contracts, and now that money that was penciled in for the next several years for their TV deal, now they don't have it. And Grimtal mentions Manfred's comments about fan access. Um, that thing we
Yeah.
talked about last
Lawyer
week.
speak.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. We talked about the MLB and MILB package running up against each other. This year finally that they're kind of pairing them together. Um, but the thing is, you still have blackouts.
Right.
So if Manfred's talking about fan access and making sure that they can see the games and whatever, I don't know exactly how you do that given the blackout rules that are self-imposed. It's not like this is like some sort of a government thing where they're like, oh, in order to take care of these fans, we have to have blackout rules. This has nothing to do with that. It's
Yeah.
self-imposed by MLB. They're the ones who are doing this whole thing. So how does that affect that? Do they go back on
Right.
the blackouts? And put those for free streaming? When
And
or do you give them a price break?
we're talking about a sport that's been complaining for years, or maybe not complaining, but recognizing that they need to gain younger viewership to, continue their success. And we talk about all these different rule changes to speed the game up and whatnot, and keep people's interest. But if you if you're not gonna have a broadcast out there, or not have a quality broadcast out there, and then you're gonna have a streaming service with blackouts, how do you expect to keep the interest of the fans, especially the younger generation who have got their faces buried in devices, and you can't put a quality streaming product out there, and you're going to take away opportunities for them to view? Doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Sure doesn't. And it seems like one of those things where, we've talked about this, numerous times, that MLB does whatever they can to shoot themselves in the foot. And
Oh,
the
no
blackout
kidding.
rule is like top on that list, of just counterproductive, measures that, okay, yeah, it probably helps a little bit, but as far as discoverability for your overall sport, putting something on a pay only network is not exactly conducive to getting new fans in there, and blacking them out on the streaming app, which so many people are cutting the cord now. It's like these, if you're a baseball fan and you cut the cord, you have to go searching, for a different streaming service to try and find your baseball content. And YouTube TV's pulling MLB Network because they can't work out a deal for how much they're paying for MLB Network. It's just, there are just so many things made, so many decisions made in an effort to just grab as much money as they can, instead of trying to look to the future and try and solidify a younger fan base so the game continues to go, so you can continue to make that money instead of worrying about everything
Right.
within, a 1 year, 2 year window, or, however long your next contract is on your RSNs. It's just kind of
Right.
a,
Profitability has become too, and before I even go there, I realize that at the end of the day, it's a business.
yeah,
Baseball, MLB is a business. It's there for those ownership groups, for the teams to make money. And in order for them to pay for the product that's on the field and the experience at each one of these ballparks, they have to make their money. But at some point, when your profitability, or your idea of profitability, becomes more important than the product, you're going to lose. You're going to lose. You're trying to grow your wallet exponentially while putting less quality of a product on the field, and people are going to search elsewhere for entertainment, because that's what sports is. It's just a form of entertainment. It's no different than the actors that you see in your movies. You know, people are going to find another way to entertain themselves.
yeah. That is the bottom line right there. Thankin says, I feel like MLB just does the bare minimum in terms of fan retention, and wonder why they're hemorrhaging fans. 100%. They do whatever they can to try and limit the amount of people that can see their product, whether it be their social media posting rules, whether it be marketing their players, whether it be the blackouts, whether it be, overpricing things, alienating people, through, contract numbers, which, market is what the market is. And I'm not going to begrudge anybody for getting their bag, but, it's just, there are just so many things that they do to limit potential audience that just does not make any sense to me. And, I mean, who am I to say that they're doing it wrong? Because every year they're making more money on top of more money. But the thing is that also with inflation, you kind of also have to think about that too. Is that if they're making $11 billion, it's worth 7% less than it was the year before. So I mean, are they really?
There's-
How much are they really making
Right.
over last year? But I mean, even still, it's
Again, we need one of
constant
those
cash
bean
cow.
counters in this chat.
Yeah, yeah,
Can we get a full
absolutely.
financial breakdown? But again, we can't. We'll never get the the real and total gist of it without the books being opened up. But
Did you
I
happen to see
digress.
that link that I tweeted out? I think it was Evan Drellick from the Athletic tweeted out. I think I retweeted it. It was can't
I haven't
remember.
seen anything. If it was anything in the last 4 or 5 days, actually, since we streamed last, I have been pretty much going, 13, 14, 15 hours a day at work. And it's like you get done, you eat, you know, you you wash your golf balls, you wash your grapes, and you go to bed. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
pretty much. No, I get that.
So
I don't miss working. Like I did Lollapalooza a few times, and like you get down there at 8 o'clock in the morning, and you're there till 1 o'clock in the morning.
midnight and 1 o'clock in
You
the morning,
drive home.
take
Take
a
a quick
nap.
shower,
Because
go to sleep, and then drive right back in the morning and start all over again.
yeah, luckily, we had some hotel rooms down there, so the driving didn't really happen, which gives me about let's just say on average half hour to 40 minutes each way. So give me an hour, hour and a half extra of sleep. But still, man, I mean, it equates to nothing more than a nap by the time you kind of settle in. You know what I mean? You got to eat something, you got to clean yourself up, you got to unwind. Yeah, and
Yeah, there was.
yeah, I didn't get a chance to see much of anything,
That's fair. I'll
since
I'll
last
read.
week.
I'll throw it at you, but it was more or less somebody's open books from a court case. It was I can't remember which team it was, but it was a MLB team's open books from a court case,
Really?
and yeah, and he posted it because he's like, you never get to see this, so here it is. Take a look, and look at it and see what's going on in here to see, and obviously, it's dated because it's not from like last season or something. It's from, several years ago. But the fact that you actually can see numbers, it's like kind of one of those things where you kind of have to, you look at the numbers and then you go back and do a Google search on articles from that year, maybe, and look and see what the owners were saying, and no doubt it's biblical losses, blah blah blah, and now you look at the paperwork and you see, okay, all right, so you were lying. Okay, perfect.
Right, right,
so,
right.
um, in other news, position players reported. All right. Well,
Yay!
redeemed hats off to you. I'll be right back.
Well, figures he would do that. Hey, you know what? I think I may have a hat available. It's not going to be a Sox hat or a minor league team, but I think I got something Chicago based over here. Give me 1 second.
Oh boy. Yeah.
I have
So,
something.
so position
Oh yeah,
players
that'll
showed
work.
up. A lot of them were, were already there anyway. They showed up early. It seems like a lot of guys are chomping at the bit to get into camp and get working. Let's see what we got here. What we got? Yeah, yeah. Oh, the Wolves. Very nice. Hey, look at
So
that.
not Sox related, but
Yeah,
we'll
well,
keep it Chicago related with
that's
the
a different
old
hat. It fits.
Wolves.
Yeah, so a bunch of guys showed up for camp, and a bunch of guys showed up early and were down there anyway. So it wasn't like, thank you, Doll Steak, appreciate it. So they show up for their, because they're everybody's chomping to get at the bit. Everybody's looking to get the taste out of their mouth from last year. So a bunch of guys show up early, and a couple of the obligatory best shape of their lives, tweets about Yohan Moncada and Yasmani Grandal, and of course about Lucas Giolito, who shows up weighing 35 pounds less than spring training last year, which is mind blowing to me. Like I
35.
know that he looked like he was thick last year, but hearing that
Yeah.
he was like 280 or 285 last year, insane. So, but
No, come on.
we hear
Three
things
times?
about Davis Martin, which was nice. Hear that his bicep issue from last year will be of no hindrance this year, and that basically he took his 2 weeks off after the season last year, and that ended up taking care of his sore bicep. So 9 runs. What do you got? What do you got?
Keep going.
I'm seeing which one you're putting on now.
We got another one.
Another one. Is it the
Yeah, we
same
got
one?
another hats off from Pusher.
Oh.
We're just gonna. Hi, I found a socks.
Thankins asks if we think that Gio can make a comeback this year, and I will say, after seeing his mechanics and seeing that he's not doing the bow and arrow, just scap load, and he's actually doing a little bit of wind up, and the fact that he's lost a little bit of weight, and he thinks that that extra weight that he lost is going to help his endurance. I do think that he can make a comeback. But you look at his second half stats from last year, not nearly as bad as the first half. So,
Right.
If he was trending in the right direction and figuring out what was going on at the end there, they always say that you make your adjustments in spring training, and then once the season starts, it's a heck of a lot harder to make a mechanical adjustment in season. And I can totally understand why, because you're working on, muscle memory. And there was a specific tweet that James Fegan put out last week, which was Gio throwing his session and the difference in between two pitches in a row. And the first one, if you watch the mechanics, he went back to the catcher mechanics of going straight back and holding his arm at a 90-degree angle like he's been doing for 2 years, and you see him kind of look not happy with himself because he did that. And then on the next pitch he did his longer motion, which he seems to have figured out a way that he can make his delivery repeatable even with the longer mechanics, because when he first showed up in Chicago, his mechanics were long, and that was part of his inconsistent command. And
Right.
he changed to the quick load pitch, and that's kind of what helped him kind of get back on track. And how about this? I hope he can make a comeback for the team. Although I don't know if it's really going to matter for the team in the long run if they don't win a World Series this year, because I don't think he's going to be here next year. What do you
Yeah,
think, Dan?
I kind of get the same feeling, and I'm glad you brought that up because my answer, you pretty much hit on all the things that I was exactly thinking when it comes to Lucas. But the only thing I really want to add to that is that not only has he been working on those mechanics and doing those things and finding a way to make it repeatable, but it might sound cliche to say, but it is a contract here. And, you know, there's a little bit of truth to that kind of thing. And I won't say it's not the rule, but it happens quite often when guys are in a contract here that laser focus kicks in because they know their livelihood depends on it. And that's the long and short of it for me, honestly. You got a guy who wants to go out and earn the most money he can in this new upcoming contract. Well, there's some recency bias. We've seen it in other contracts where guys, maybe have not had the best careers, but when they have a career year and a contract year, they get paid the following season. And I think Lucas probably wants to get paid, whether or not it's with the White Sox. So, yeah, I think he can have a bounce back season. I think he will probably. I think I'll say this. There is little doubt in my mind that he will be much improved over last season. Will it be, the Lucas Giolito we have hoped for? That one that was going to take the next step? Is he going to have a Dylan Cease, a 2022 Dylan Cease kind of year? I don't know. But I will say he's probably going to be much improved over last season.
Yeah, well, I mean, he has to be motivated because, his livelihood depends on it. If he comes out and has another 5 ERA season this year, You know, nobody's going to be wanting to give him, $25 million a year. If he
Right.
can manage to come back and do well this season, he can say, yeah, I had a bad season last year, but I made the adjustments I needed to make, and I'm back on track. Look at the numbers. You can look at the 2 years before that, and then last year, yeah, it was a clunker, but then this year, I'm back on track. Thankin says, all that sounds promising. I hope he can get back to form, but even if he has a great year, you don't think he'll be back. You've seen it time and time again with the White Sox. They don't pay for pitching.
Here he is.
You know,
Posey, long time no see,
what's up,
brother,
Bozy? How
brother.
you doing, buddy?
And
Yeah,
of
learn
course,
the
with the
ethos,
learn
sure.
the ethos.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I it's funny that you bring up the ethos because just recently, with all this talk about position players not being able to pitch in certain situations, I I went down the rabbit hole and I was watching some position player YouTube videos, the position players pitching YouTube videos, and watching guys strike out on an ethos is extremely entertaining to me. So I'm not really, I wasn't, I'm not one of those fans that was totally against position players pitching. I know a lot of people are like, oh, what took them so long? John Boy, put a thing together about that. And, a lot of people jumped on that. But I, for one, don't mind, watching Albert Pujols serve up dingers.
Hey, I'll
You know
watch
what I
that.
mean?
You know what?
And the interaction between, when the interaction between two guys becomes ill-fated, kind of, heavy-hearted and angry, that's just ridiculous. Like, if the game is so far out of hand that you got a position player already in there and you're gonna get mad because your mean Mercedes hit a dinger off you and it's already out of, the game's already out of hand, or somebody else is gonna get mad because, like, get over yourself, man. The game's over.
Talking about my
Who
guy?
cares if these guys? I love it though when I see, oh, look at, there he
You're gonna
is
be
doing
talking
the
about my
old Tony
guy.
Turkey trot. But I like the ones where you can get guys laughing at each other when you know they hit a bomb and it's like, oh, okay, I did that. Yep, sure did. Served it up. There you go. And they can joke and laugh and point at each other as they round the bases. That's fun. That's fun. You know, Obviously you got to have the right kind of mentality for it.
Yeah.
But that's the kind of baseball that I don't mind seeing.
Yeah, well, like the one we talked about last week in particular was the Rizzo versus Freddie Freeman, and watching Rizzo strike out Freddie Freeman and both of them walk away laughing. When the game's
And that's
already a
exactly my
laugher,
point.
like, what's the big deal? What's the harm?
That's exactly my point. Watching two opposing players be able to go out there and have fun like, they were back in Little League.
Yep.
Nothing wrong with that. They're human. It shows that human side of them. And I think we talked about that a little bit when we were talking about this last week. You know, I, I don't see a problem with it, but apparently a lot of fans think it's ridiculous. Whatever.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, so Bozy mentions like MLB The Show when you used to be able to give your cat pitcher, your creative pitcher, be able to give them an ethos. I mean, I will never forget. Was it 2020 MLB The Show with Ryan Firebend, uh, who had a like 60-mile-an-hour knuckleball, and then he threw like 97 with his fastball. It was like absolutely almost completely unhittable. No way, no shot you could get that. Cheese Rock says, I want Colas to
Yeah, I was waiting
relive
for
his
this.
Cuban Otani days and take the mound with the Sox up 10 at some point. I'd be in there for that. I mean, the guy still throws
I'm
96.
here for it.
Yeah, that would be fun.
By the way, thanks for checking in, Cheese.
Yeah.
Haven't seen you in a couple weeks, brother. Yeah,
Uh,
I'm here for it, man. I mean, I know he hasn't pitched in a long time, but sure wouldn't mind seeing that. There was a lot of comparisons a few years ago when the Sox scooped him up in the international market. So yeah,
yeah, it was the
I
Japanese
know,
minor
I
leagues,
know.
though. So, I mean, how much do you really trust it?
Right. I
So,
know. I know. I'm not putting a whole lot into it, but I think it still would be a fun moment.
uh, Bozy asks, which is more fun, seeing a dinger hit off of a position player or Bartolo Colon socking taters? Well, it only happened once, so you'd have to say sock a tater. Um, but
Was it only once?
I'm almost
I thought he said a
positive the one
few.
time it happened in San Diego was like the only time. I'm almost
Okay.
positive.
All right.
It was the first time for sure, but I think it was the only time. Um,
All right.
I'm so happy that there's universal DH. Um,
Yeah, that I'm okay with. I mean, it was fun to see pitchers hit a dinger every now and again. The reality is there was only a handful of pitchers in the last 40 years that you could tell me were decent hitters.
yep. Yeah, I mean DeGrom is good. There's a couple of guys that go out there and put in a serious solid effort and don't just wave at the ball. But I mean we've seen so many guys that just go out there and just kind of half-hearted swing and don't seem to really care, which is fine because as far as I'm concerned, I don't want Liam Hendricks running the bases. You know,
Right.
I don't want to see any pitcher out there running the bases, and I certainly don't want to see them. It's just not good for your team if one of them gets injured running the bases. The universal DH made all the sense in the world just because A, they couldn't hit, B, they don't have time to practice it as much. So what was the point? I mean, other than, a couple of times a year when, you get to laugh about a pitcher hitting a home run. I mean, that's pretty much about it. That's what you're looking at.
Yep. Yeah.
What
No
about
argument here.
the unwritten rules and respect? Yeah, I mean, if he's doing it respectfully, you know.
Well, and I mean that's the thing, I think it really comes down to what mindset the player has because we've seen both sides of that. Hey, all right.
Hey, Thankins, I'd be thankins you
Thanks
for
for the
that
sub.
sub. Appreciate it. Kershaw,
Yeah, no,
OPS, Larry. Oh my gosh, that's
well,
that's just that's just kicking a guy when he's down right there. If Clayton
I
Kershaw's
I
got
love
a
our chat for these things sometimes though, man. I really do.
now, I don't know if
Clayton
that's
Kershaw's OPS is greater than Leary's OPS. I mean, sample size, we can go there, but that's a good poll, man.
is
That's a
is.
good poll.
I mean, Grimtall follows the Dodgers. Now is that factual, or are you just being a wise ass?
I don't care if it is or not. It's hilarious.
He says he's 100% joking. I would not be surprised if at least like Jacob DeGrom's OPS plus. Granted, he didn't play very much last year, and there was already the universal DH. But I bet you one year or so, I wouldn't be surprised if DeGrom's OPS plus was better than Leury's.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
You might be able to cherry pick a moment in time. Who knows?
Bozy says, "I bet Kershaw can also play 6 positions." You know, this has been my main complaint about Leury is that yes, he can play a bunch of positions, but the thing is if you look at his numbers, he's a
You don't
0
play any of them
DRS
very
for his
well.
career, and he's below average WRC plus for his career. So you get plus on neither facet of baseball, and it's certainly not like you would think, you got defense, you've got offense, and then you've got the mental game. He struggles in all three. So
Yeah,
giving
you're
that
talking
guy
about a guy who's had an 11-year career, and
oof,
he's less than half a WAR
ooh,
player.
Ladder Enjoyer brings up a good point. Cease has a career 875 OPS. That game in Cincinnati was magical. Couldn't get him out.
That game, that
That game. Yeah, that's
that game.
that game. But hey, highest batting average on the team, you know? So, yeah, small sample size. We
Again,
play a small sample size game, but I'm
I
good.
haven't
I'm
heard
good
from
with it.
Mark Orr tonight, man. Donuts33 is not in the chat.
Ugh.
And you know what? He's usually the one pulling this stuff. So shout out to Mark and shout out to our chat this evening for putting a smile on my face for sure. Thanks, guys. I really love when this happens. I do.
Andrew Vaughn can play second base, and by that he can walk to where second base is supposed to play and stand there. Yeah, but
Well, with the bigger bases now,
yeah.
he's
Well,
got a
that's
little
true.
less ground to cover.
Yeah, he does have less ground to cover, but I will say, without the shift, it's going to be a lot harder to just stick a guy out in any infield position, expect him to be able to hold his own there. It's going to have to be a little bit more difficult, which actually, um, as Elvis Andrus is, going to play his second game at second base ever on opening day, assuming he is a starter, like Rick Hahn mentioned in his little chat yesterday. Um, now with the less of the shift, which I don't think is really like range is not Elvis's problem. Uh, Peanut butter and banana sandwiches is Elvis's problem, but you know, I I don't see him really having a problem
You got a big
covering second.
booty.
I don't see him having a problem covering second base, range wise or arm wise, or even necessarily just like the little things of fundamental footwork and things like that. I don't think that's really going to be a huge problem for him. I do, however, worry about his offense. And as we've talked about before, you're talking about
Yeah.
like I think it was like a sub 90 WRC plus for his career, and his best couple years it was like 2017 and 2018. I think down in Texas,
Like
and
104
then
or 107.
yeah, it was like 107 or 115 one year, and then like 107 the next, and
111.
then
Yeah, something like that.
like a 105 last year. Um, and as you mentioned, it was a lot. A lot of it. The numbers got a huge boost when he got here to Chicago. He did happen to mention that when he came here, he ended up figuring out a problem, and it's been a problem that's been plaguing him since he broke his, since he fractured his elbow, um, and that helped him. So I'm kind of interested to see whether or not, I don't know how long he's going to be able to hold up.
Okay.
When you get up there in age, I
Yeah, he
mean,
is 34.
I know about that kind of thing because I'm old. So
I don't know what you're talking about.
the ability to heal yourself up after something like that happens. Like after just the rigors of playing every day, you get worn down. And after exercising every day for 3 months, you feel drained. It's only normal. So my question is, how much of a beating is he going to be able to take out there, being a professional athlete for the entire season? Now, I mean, granted, he's obviously in good shape and whatever, but I mean, nagging injuries do happen.
Well, so he's in the best shape of his life. He's in the best shape of his career.
Thankin says, I really hope Vaughn isn't the new Larry.
Yeah, no, I
Yikes.
saw that. I was not going to address that comment.
I don't even want to entertain
Sorry,
that
not
thought.
sorry.
That's awful. I've been, I will say though, like, between you know, Josh
Ooh,
Nelson
I need a
and
smoke
Beef
for
Loaf
that one.
and all these other guys, they've been hammering on Andrew Vaughn. Whether it's talking about his height or not believing that he can put together a full season and everything. And like I can't help but at least somewhat agree and voice some concern about that kind of stuff. But I will say, like if you watch the first half of last year, showed a lot of promise. But like I was mentioning about Elvis Andrus is, after a certain amount of time, you have to start wearing down. That's why guys did roids because then they didn't have the problems recharging. But now they're not taking them, assumed. Um, so
I was going to thank you for saying that because I'm sure somebody's figured out a way.
somebody's figured out something. But I mean, like, I'm hoping that Andrew Vaughn doesn't have, you know, this wear down issue again this year, and he can finally put together a full season and not have like a 1.5 month slump.
Yeah, well, my hope too is that, he's also not continually learning how to play a new position because, I mean, we heard it again. He played outfield in 21 and now he was playing outfield again in 22. And we heard during the 22 season that he was still learning and still picking up things and still, trying to better his routes and this, that, and the other thing. And if that's the case, it sounds like you guys got a lot on his mind, and now he's going back to his natural position, and hopefully that kind of clears up some things. And we talked about muscle memory with pitchers. You kind of hope that muscle memory as a position player and that clear head, and not feeling the pressure of trying to do things that you really aren't made to do. Kind of hope that maybe some of that finds it a clearing moment for his bat as well.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It remains to be seen. I also have questions about that, but I think if you try to compare him to Jose Abreu, that's just a futile thought to begin with.
Yeah.
You can't. You're talking about one of the best first basemen on baseball over the last 10 years, and to compare Andrew Vaughn in his third season as a regular this year to Jose Abreu, you're gonna be disappointed. So we have to hope that Oscar Colas does some things out there in right field to make up for some Andrew, or for some of Jose Abreu being missing. You got to hope that Andrew Benintendi does some things with the bat to make up for some of that lost production. And then of course Andrew Vaughn hopefully settles in and does his thing at first base. But there's no replacing as Jose Abreu. And I feel like that meeting in Moneyball, the beginning of the season, we're not replacing Giambi. We're taking three guys to replace his numbers.
Yeah. So yeah, thinking about it that way is like
Excuse me.
probably more the way to do it. Um, yeah, and Cheese brings up that he also totally skipped, Double A and Triple A, and we had this talk many a time on the podcast slash stream here that we were both not feeling him just jumping in at DH at the major league level without going to at least Charlotte to get some reps in and see some more top end talent. And I mean, he did prove that he had that, that he does have a major league ready elite bat in short bursts. And what we
Right.
need is for him to, put an entire season together. But I mean, expecting him to go from, playing 80 games his rookie season, in was it Kannapolis and Winston Salem, and then expecting him to be able to immediately, you get the COVID year where he's playing in Schaumburg,
Right.
and
He
then the
was on the
next
taxi
year
squad. And I mean, that's something. Playing on that taxi squad, he did face some, you
something.
know,
Yeah,
well, I mean, I know it's not the same as, facing double A and triple A pitching for an entire season, but, every major leaguer lost a chunk of that year. You know what I mean? So does it put him a little bit behind in his development? Maybe, but he also faced some guys who were either former major league pitchers or guys who were going to be and were on that roster at some point during that season. So, I mean, he did get some of that developmental time when he was on the taxi squad. But again, like you said, it was a 60-game season. Didn't really get that long period and, didn't get the same kind of wear like we've been talking about the last few minutes here where you get that little bit of a breakdown. The body gets tired a little bit, you know.
yeah.
So,
Well, I mean,
sorry, I don't mean to harp on that,
all
but I
good.
just I don't want to take away from what, he did have some work.
Yeah, no, he's no, yeah. I mean, well, Schaumburg, yeah, yes. Speaking of Schaumburg, one of his fellow cohorts that did a little bit of work over in Schaumburg, Garrett Crochet, coming back from TJ this year. He's got his rehab stuff going on. He's been thrown off of a mound, and they're saying that he is going to be possibly in a rehab assignment in the minors in April and should be back by late May up to the big league club. So, that's a boost for, you know, getting another
Well, and that's all
power arm
best
back.
case scenario too,
It is, but I mean, you figure if he's already throwing off of the mound and already, he's throwing sliders, he's throwing pitches with movement already. So if he's already at
Right.
that point and he says his command's good, just like with Geo, I want to see what the velo looks like.
Right.
Because if Geo's back out there throwing 92 again, I don't
Yeah,
think
it
that
doesn't
that's
matter what the
necessarily
command looks
going.
like.
Yeah, I mean, if he comes back out like he was last year and is throwing like 92, 93 miles an hour, and if Garrett
Gonna get
Crochet comes back and is
tattooed.
throwing 95 miles an hour, I don't think that that's going to necessarily work.
No,
You know?
that's been talked about a lot on this pod slash stream a lot too. The difference between 96 Garrett Crochet and 103 Garrett Crochet is light years, absolute light years. And we saw it. We saw guys touch him up a few times, and his command really wasn't bad. His command was about the same as it was when the velo was there. He hit spots the same way. He just didn't. He wasn't throwing the ball past anybody. They were tattooing that.
Yep. And if he comes back and doesn't have that elite velo again, every single Sox fan had an argument with their best friend about whether or not Garrett Crochet was pulling back and not throwing as hard because he was trying to conserve his arm or because the White Sox told him not to throw as fast. Just like, we've had the same conversation about Kopech. Are they telling him to throw less fast, or is he throwing less fast because he wants to and he thinks that it's going to help his durability throughout the year? you know, and speaking of another injury, Kopech
Mm.
coming back from knee surgery, and they're saying that they think that he's going to be ready for opening day. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see where that whole thing goes. Need a big year out of him. Thankins drops the Cease emote in chat. We at least need I'm not saying that the White Sox necessarily need to have that kind of production out of Cease this upcoming year. I mean, it certainly would be nice to have a bona fide stopper ace on the team, So, I mean, we'll see where, like what Cease looks like, but he's not doing WBC because he wants to pitch for the White Sox, so we'll see. Grimtall's going on a rant here about Eloy season hinging on Eloy. Sox need a bunch of gap hitters. Hard hit liners turn into homers. I'd rather watch him gap to gap rather than the Sox standard of homer strikeout guys. Well, I mean that's the thing about Eloy. If he's right, he's just hitting line drives all over the place. Some of them go out,
Yeah.
but and like I fully expect if he's healthy, which is always the question with every single guy on this team in the last couple of years. But if he's healthy, I don't see any reason why he can't run into 35. And if he really gets going, I don't see why it can't be 40 plus, even
Right.
with
I'm
the
with you.
dead baseball.
Him, you know what? Him and I think Luis has got that same kind of potential. When he's going good, both of them can hit those towering monster shots, but they can spray it all over too.
Yep. Yeah, I'm interested to see. I saw some swings from on Twitter of Luis Robert today, and if you did not see them, you will be pleased to know that they were two-handed swings, and they were swings with ill intent for a baseball. So that was beautiful to see. Hopefully, we won't have to see any more of that. Those ugly one-handed swings like we saw last year. That was brutal.
Yeah. I need somebody to do the no marbles. No marbles. Huevos?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Really, we got we got like about a week until we start seeing games on TV. Well, it's I don't know, 5-6 days until we start seeing games on TV. Did you happen to see how many White Sox spring training games are being televised this year?
I have not had a chance to look at that schedule yet, but I heard it was not good.
It's like 5.
Yeah.
5 or 6 or something like that.
Like not that's including split squads and the whole 9.
Yeah, I was
That's awful.
I was thinking that it seemed a little bit light, but I I didn't look to see how many are webcasts. I haven't looked at that schedule yet, but I need to do that to figure out exactly how much of this I'm going to be able to consume. I would like it to be a lot, but I kind of figure that maybe about 50% of the games, because I assume
Okay.
there'll be some webcasts, but I'll have to take a look. I'll bring it up here while we're chit chatting
Yeah,
away.
you mentioned that, and that's kind of disappointing because I haven't seen that. And quietly, I don't want to jinx us, and I know we got this crazy weather system that's supposed to be coming through tomorrow, but this mild winter that we've been having, I've been kind of feeling like maybe we're gonna stay lucky. There's that part of me that goes, nah, we're probably gonna get nailed in March sometime, and you get that 2 footer that melts off in like a week. But quietly, I've been really pining to get that TV hung up outside again. And just hope that we get a couple of those spring days where I can, even if it's a day or two, where you get that one day where it just creeps up into the 70s, sandwiched between 2 35-degree days, you know what I mean? And you get that one day in the 70s where everybody's got to get out and get the grill fired up and hope to God that there's a White Sox game on TV. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Um, yeah, I don't have anything outside, and I'm kind of, well, not here at work. I've got way too many TVs outside, but yeah, we haven't done that here, and I guess that's probably a good thing. Um, let's see how many we got here. We've got spring training. Wow. Um, hmm.
I'm not liking the look on your face right now.
It says, you know what? It says Sox feed, so I have to assume. I don't know. This is really. So you've got a list that says you've got one column that says Sox TV. You've got one that says Sox Radio, and then the other one says Sox feed. So I would assume that the Sox feed is
Streaming?
is a streaming feed. I would think. I mean, realistically, even if you don't put broadcasters on there, people will still watch it. They don't care whether there's an announcer on there or not.
Absolutely.
So you throw on, you just keep your technical director on staff so he can change camera angles. I mean, then you don't even need camera guys. As long as there's the who is it? There's a one team in Advanced A. I'm trying to remember who it is, but they've got no announcer, and you only get one camera angle. And I still watched all of it. It was like in the middle of Colson Montgomery's 50 game on base streak. So, I was doing my thing. And
No, it's like it's no different than sitting in the stands.
yep.
I mean, we don't. Who do you get in the stands? You get Gene Honda, while you're sitting in the stands. And when Gene Honda's not talking, you get like the Spirit team talking to you about, you know, whatever T-shirt giveaway they're doing, or whatever Chevy commercial they're pitching, this week. But I mean, it's like sitting in the stands. I just want to see some baseball, man.
Yeah. I mean, they've got mics in the ground. So you hear like stuff that's going on down on, down on the field, which we've also talked about this on the podcast. White Sox, when they used to, actually not White Sox specifically, but MLB, back quite a few years ago, when they would do their condensed game highlights at the end of the game, that would basically just take the plays that mattered, whether it be like a strikeout or a walk or a hit or an out. They would have all that stuff condensed into a game, and you'd have like a 10-minute game. The best thing about that was they had crowd mics and field mics on, no announcers. So when something happened on the field, you would hear the displeasure from the players. And it was fantastic to be able to hear like
Yeah.
just the raw emotion that was going on during the game. And then
God,
I
put
think
it
they
in
did
the
it for
mother.
2 seasons, and then they stopped doing it and they put the announcers on. And I was like, man, that just ruined it. Grimtall. So you know who it is? It is the Aberdeen Ironbirds is the team that does no announcer. And so if you watch one of their minor league games, Advanced Day, you will hear no commentary, and it's pretty awesome. Cheese Rock says, you guys checked out any of the Savannah Bananas game streams? I saw, I got an email the other day that they were doing a live stream, and I didn't get a chance to watch it because I think it was on Friday night, and I wanted to watch it, but I did not. I do have, I did put my name in on the list for the Savannah Bananas because they are playing up in Milwaukee later on this year.
No kidding.
Yeah, so I put myself on a wait list for tickets. So we'll see if they become available because that's that. I mean, you want? I mean, yes,
Entertaining
it's
for
lower
sure.
quality baseball, but the entertainment factor is awesome.
And I don't know if I would even call it, it's lower quality, but I don't know if I would call it low quality because it
Lower,
is
yeah. I
right.
did not mean
It's
to slag them.
strange. No. I know you did. You said it, but uh, I I I feel like as fun as these guys try to be, and all the little trick plays and all the little different things that they do to make things interesting, these guys are still real ball players, and they can play some ball. You know, I am a subscriber to the Savannah Bananas YouTube channel, and I thoroughly enjoy what they do. Like I like watching catchers try to gun base runners down or would be base stealers down by throwing the ball from behind the back and through the legs to second base. You know what I mean? That type of thing. Or the little dances they do when the pitchers go up into the windup. That's fantastic stuff, man.
We're starting pitcher on 15-foot high stilts.
Right? I
Yeah,
mean, it's
totally funny.
come on. It's a good time.
Did you happen to catch any of the XFL pushers asking if either of us checked out the XFL opening weekend games?
I did not, and like I said, I hate to keep using the same excuse, but man, those 14, 15-hour days are
Yeah, yeah,
the
fair
butt
enough.
kickers, man. My knees, I felt like my knees were swollen up to the size of basketballs, and there were times I think I couldn't feel my toes, but the rest of my foot hurt. So,
Yeah, Grimtall brings up the Portland Pickles as their Twitter account is worth a follow. They're another one of those independent baseball teams, and their Twitters. It's good. It's funny.
I did
Um,
not know of that one. I will go ahead and give that a sub or a follow.
there was a lemon party, and I saw a player get punched in the balls. Well, I mean, if that's not that's entertainment right there.
I don't know what it is. All of us guys have balls, and nobody likes to get hit in them. But watching somebody else get hit in them is like the best thing in the world.
You want to talk about entertainment? That's entertaining. Did The Rock buy the XFL?
Indeed.
Okay, that's all right. I was just making sure it was the XFL and not the USFL. I couldn't remember which one he bought. I knew he bought one of them. I just wasn't sure which one it was. So, you got anything on anything important you got to get off your chest about the White Sox before we fire open this box over here?
Uh, Not really. Um, I do want to say you put out or you retweeted somebody else's tweet in the last day or two on like 4 bullet points on what a club should
Oh,
or
Kyle
shouldn't be
Body,
doing.
yeah, Kyle Body from
Yeah,
Driveline, yeah,
yeah. You want to talk about that at all?
yeah. We can talk
Because I
about
thought
that.
that was interesting.
Yeah, let me go
Can
ahead
you pull that
and
tweet up?
yeah, I'm gonna bring it up. Give me 1 second here.
Yeah, pull that up and put it on screen. I just want to take, we don't have to spend all night, and I just want to take 2, 3 minutes, let the chat see that if they hadn't already, and hopefully, because I just felt like that tweet was directed right smack dab, targeted on the White
It
Sox.
kind of felt that way, didn't it?
It did.
Like that's why I
I was like,
retweeted it because
hey,
I was
punch
like, man. that feels like I feel seen here. You
I,
know?
right, and that's the only reason I want to bring it up because it was like that ain't us. If that ain't the Southsiders, I
Yeah.
don't know who he's talking about.
Yeah, I felt pretty awful after seeing it. I'm not gonna
I
lie
mean, it
about
felt like
that.
an indictment on TLR more than anything. And we hope that the direction of the White Sox, the change in direction of the White Sox over the offseason here is, enough to get moving in the right direction. But wow, it just it just felt really pointed and pointed right in our direction.
Yeah, it was tough. I will agree with you. Um,
So stay tuned. Hang on, guys, because I don't know. I want to hear from the chat. I want to know if you guys feel like, am I wrong? Am I reading too far into this? But when you see this, and there wasn't a whole lot of comments in the thread that, I was waiting for. I looked through the thread a little bit, and I was just looking for like some other team or some other fans of some other team to jump in there and be like, "Oh, that's totally us." Nope,
nope, it was
nope.
just us. Yeah, I felt kind of, like I didn't even. I mean, to be honest, it's like, we follow the minor league guys quite a bit, and
Hmm.
we talk to some of them, and like I don't want to, make any of them feel, like we don't enjoy what they do, because we do. It's just, the organization itself. Yeah, like this stuff hits. All right, so here's the tweet. I'll go ahead and bring this up here.
There it is. No, he's oh, maybe. I'm pretty sure he was a former employee of the Reds, but one of the founders of Driveline. Number two. Hey. So like one. Oh, reading between the lines here. I mean, when you're talking about roster decisions over the last couple of years, we've had Ricky Renteria and Tony La Russa at the helm, and an organization that kind of just let them do their thing and didn't seem like there was a whole lot of organizational positioning to make sure that these guys couldn't get in their own way. Does that make sense? Am I am I off? Am I close?
The feels, you know, um,
Yeah.
like
Well, that's a nice transition.
I kind of 100% felt that he was talking about the White Sox, and that was who it was pointed at. Even though, like, I have no idea why he would, single out the White Sox in particular. But the White Sox did have a couple of guys that were working at Driveline this year in the offseason. But I would like to think that it wasn't specifically targeted at the White Sox, but
Oh, it sure felt that way though, didn't it? Yeah,
it
I mean,
really did.
there's no doubt. It like,
Oh,
ah,
hats off. Hold on.
oh, I think I went through the only three I have with me, so I think I'm gonna revert right back to hat number one. Sorry. You
All
know,
right.
I knew somebody was gonna start redeeming these churros,
Yeah.
and I probably should have been better prepared for this. I'm gonna have to stack my hats.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get ready for that because
So
it's gonna
I
it's gonna
know
happen.
we got a few guys here that have been with us for a long time, and I know they've probably got like 800,000 churros they need to redeem. So
Yeah, I've only got like 79,000 churros to redeem, so and I don't have 79 hats, so I'm gonna have to work on that as well. I agree. John Rudels, what are you doing here?
oh come on, like just gonna do the carnival of wait. I'm not gonna take them off. I'm just gonna put them all on.
All right, so thank you for everybody that came in to hang out. We're going to go ahead and end the podcast portion of this right now. So White Sox Daily.substack.com. You can find written material in the podcast form. You can also find the podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts. At Daily White Sox on Twitter. You can search us on Facebook and YouTube, and the link's also in our bio here for the YouTube channel and the Facebook page. So feel free to look us up on those other mediums. And thanks for coming and hanging out. We are going to open up a box of Heritage minor league cards here, and hopefully we'll get ourselves a nice auto. We'll see though. All right. Well, thanks for coming and listening, guys. Appreciate it. Bye.
All right.
All right. So let's get on to.
Oh, thanks for jumping into the chat and hanging out with us tonight. By the way, feel free to stick around. This
Yeah,
ought to
we're
be
gonna
interesting.
go ahead and rip this box and see what we can find. Hopefully, there's some goodness in there. There is. I want to say probably like a 15 to 20% chance that the auto will be a White Sox org player. Something like that. Although I don't have exact odds because I don't know how many of each got released. So it's possible that the odds are worse, but let's hope not. But I mean, in reality,
Let's go, Colson.
you're going to have probably less of like the really big prospects, like the top 10 prospects that did autograph cards. You're going to have less of those given out than you are of, because the White Sox are thank you, Cheese. I appreciate it. I'm hoping. I've seen on some breaks on YouTube and stuff, I've seen several Ramos autographs, and I've seen a couple of Colson as well. So I'm hoping for the same. But I'll take a Kath or a Bailey or whatever. I just would prefer White Sox rather than even like Ellie De La Cruz or Henry Davis autos. Where these guys are ranked in the top 25 picks or top 25 draft guys, whatever. Hopefully we'll see. Top 25 prospects. All right, let's go ahead and swap over here.
And that is a fantastic transition. We look so professional. Thank you for
Look at
that,
that.
Ian.
Kind of, sort of, anyway, right? So
Yeah.
here we go. Got my little
Krager open.
got my my good luck charm here.
Yeah,
You
them
do not know who Greasy
cannonballers.
Keys is. Greasy Keys is our guy. He is the plays the Hammond organ at the Kannapolis Cannonballers games down in Kannapolis, and he's a great dude and great great keyboard player as well. He's pretty phenomenal. And he has a keytar, which is fantastic.
Keytar.
You don't get to see a keytar too
Oh,
many these days, you know?
no, man. They kind of died with the '80s, but always fun when they come out.
All right, so you see who the pin-up guys are here on the top. You get these three. They're not real autographs, but they are fun. Let's see, we got Jordan Lawler, uh, Errol Vera, who I have no idea who he is, and then there is the aforementioned Henry Davis. So these are just
All
like,
right, all right.
fake little cards, but let's hope we get something good here. I don't have, I'm not like one of those poker players at the World Series of Poker where you have like your little good luck charm that sits next to you on the table when you're playing.
You get
But
yourself a little totem.
yeah, I'm doing that with the greasy keys, and I'm hoping
There
that
you
that
go.
gives me some help here. All right, Miguel Geraldo, Relvis Martinez, Joe Mack, who I wrote a little draft piece on last year for Future Sox. Bryce Terang, Everson Artiega, Federico Polanco, Hendry Mendez, and Austin Wells. All right, well there's one. You guys don't hear the
One
owl in my microphone, do you?
owl.
I have my window open up here in the room to keep the heat down from the PC,
Oh,
and
you got a noisy bird out
there
there.
are a couple of owls that live in our neighborhood, and this thing has been going all stream long. And
Is it the screech? Is it like the screech owl,
no, it's like
or is it a? Is it a?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, we've got Warming Bernabel, whoever that is. We got a Benny Montgomery, Leover Peguero, Brett Beatty, Ellie Dela Cruz, and Jordan Walker. Got Pedro Pineda, Corbin Carroll from the Reno Aces. That guy is a lot of fun. Oh, here's a good one. Everybody loves an Elijah Tatis. That's good stuff right there. There we go. We'll go ahead and put Elijah Tatis right there. Yikes. And some gentleman named Milcar Perez of the Modesto Nuts.
The Modesto Nuts.
I mean, that's
He's nuts.
If this is the only White Sox player that I pull, and it's Elijah Tatis, I'm gonna be kind of upset because that's sad. All right, Miguel Blyce, Cooper Kinney of the Rays, Maximo Acosta, Jordan Lawler, Matt McClain, Tyler Soderstrom of the Blue Jays, Justin Foscue, and Colton Cowser. I saw the Colton on the back, and I almost thought it was Colson for a second, but it was not.
Come on, baby.
Yeah,
fingers crossed.
Let's get something good here. Let's get something good. All right, Austin Hendrick, Trey Sweeney of the Yankees. Who's that? Wildero Patino, which is like this is I forget what it's like some reprint. It's not an exact reprint of like a particular series. I can't. It's the Mexican Baseball League, I believe, if I remember correctly.
Okay, all right.
Vladimir Guerrero. That's kind of cool. Hey, we got ourselves a Yoelqui Cespedes. How do you like that? Non-auto, but I'll take it regardless.
Yeah.
Got Jordan Walker. Yeah. That's a good one. Eduardo Garcia and Lonnie White Jr. And in case you didn't catch the tweet, there are 2 guaranteed autos in this box. So there's at least going to be 2 autographs in here. So let's see.
So wait, Ladder Enjoyer says in the chat here, do you hear that Nancy Faust is playing at one of the spring training games? She's gonna come out retirement for
I did not hear
for
that.
a day. That's kind of cool. Nancy's she's quite the gal. There's another Twitter personality, White Sox Twitter personality that goes by the handle of Dis110, who's a childhood buddy of mine. We used to get into a lot of trouble together. But it turns out that one of his aunts and Nancy go way back, and
Oh, no kidding.
he's got some stories. And she's actually reached out to him. Sent him. She was all up in his DMs, and he had no idea. She told some stories, and yeah, right. He did. Yeah, she was in his DMs about his family members and just
Interesting.
cool stuff, man. Yeah, yeah. Sweet lady.
Yeah, she's seen. I mean, like I've never met her, but judging by her Twitter presence, she's a super nice lady. Emerson Hancock got ourselves a Bryce Terang. I wanted. He was one of the guys that I was kind of hyped on when Madrigal got taken, if I remember correctly. I think it was the same year. Jackson Merrill, Padres. Anthony
you are correct
Volpe,
on that.
shortstop of the Yankees. Ronnie Mauricio, Binghamton Rumble Ponies. What a great name for a team. Nick Prado, Alex Benelas, Oswaldo Cabrera. All right, that's another one.
Yeah, Rumble Pony sounds like one of the gangs in the Warriors.
In the Warriors, absolutely. And last year there was actually at one of the Rumble Ponies games last year. There was actually a huge brawl, like bench clearing brawl, and it was a bad one. I can't remember who it was against, but we got little Victor Mesa Jr., not Victor Mesa Jr., just regular Victor Mesa. Denzel Clark, Anthony Volpe base card. Chipper Jones with the Durham Bulls. Evan Carter, Miguel Vargas, Jordan McCants of the Marlins, Davison de los Santos.
Come on, baby.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Hoping for something good. All right. Ethan Wilson, Ezekiel Tovar. Hey, we got a Popeye. And we have our first auto.
Jose Rodriguez.
Which is Alex Benelas of the Carolina Mudcats. So, not ideal, but, not a bad one in general. We have Daryl Hernandez, Christian Santana, Dalen Lyle, and Matt Liberatore, and Jesse Schultens.
I mean, I wouldn't be mad about a Popeye card.
No, I'm not mad about the Popeye card. The Popeye card's nice. It's just I wish that had been that indeed had been the auto.
The auto, yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, there
we go.
It's a good look. Looks good in a Sox uni.
Yeah,
with the old sock in the diamond logo there.
Yeah, we'll see what happens this year. I don't foresee seeing him this year just because of who's in front of him. But if he gets off to a hot start, you never know.
Well, there's always that health thing.
Nancy's playing March 17th, Sox versus Cubs.
Yeah. Thanks for that little snippet, Ladder.
Thank you for the
Appreciate that.
All right. Oh, Brian Bayo. It says Bello, but it's pronounced Bayo. He's a real good pitcher. Yuri Perez, Josh Baez, Victor Acosta, Robert Hassel, who was part of which Padres trade? He was some Padres trade. I can't remember. There's been so many of them recently. It was one of the trades last year. Henry Davis, Michael Talia, and Francisco Alvarez, Henry Davis, and Diego Cartaya.
I feel something coming. I'm going to get, well, it's not popcorn, but I'm going to get the old cheese balls out.
Old cheese balls.
The tub o cheese balls. Yeah, buddy.
Schultens is a Sox now. Schultens, is he? Which one Schultens is? Oh, Schultens is we picked him up on waivers, did we not? If I remember correctly. That was the guy that we got from, is it the D-backs? Can't remember.
The D-bags? What?
Yes. Kiros throws, drives in 2 runs. Darren Baker, son of Dusty Baker,
Dusty
who almost got
was
ran
run
over at home
over.
plate. Josh Baez, Andy Pages, Emmanuel Rodriguez, Montero homers, Ian Lewis of the Marlins, and Tristan Cassis of the Woo Sox.
Okay. I'm going to shovel a mouthful as you open this one. We're going.
Is that good luck? Cheese balls?
Mm-hmm.
Leo Jimenez. Now this guy, I love this guy's name. Yiddy Cappy.
That's a good baseball name.
Yiddy Cappy. Jordan Vyers. We have another of the Mexican League cards, Joe Gray Jr. Edward Vaughn with the Red Sox. Now, I wonder if he's related to Mo Vaughn. I don't think so. I think that's a different spelling. I could be wrong.
Okay.
Witt Jr. card, not the good one. Ooh, Zach Veen. One of those names that we've been hearing for quite a while now. He's probably going to end up making it up, I would assume, somewhat soon,
Sometime
I would think.
this year.
Jordan Lawler. Come on, baby.
Come on, baby. It's the power of the cheese balls.
Power of the cheese balls.
Colson
With
Montgomery.
Brian
I
Bayo,
am
Grayson
not your
Rodriguez,
father.
Jackson Job trio card, 2022 prospect pitchers. Harry Ford, Mariners catcher. Marcelo Meyer, Khalil Watson, and Jordan Lawler, shortstops card. Henry Davis. So we got Harry Ford and Henry Davis, 2 of the top catchers that were taken in the last couple of drafts. Curtis Mead, Jeter Downs, who is no longer with the Woo Sox. I forget who picked him up, but it might have been the D-backs that picked him up. They picked him up on waivers because he got taken off the 40-man. Colton Cowser and Jose Ramos. Wrong Ramos.
Come on, Brian.
I'm happy it's not the auto though, because if it's gonna be a Ramos, I definitely want the Brian Ramos auto instead of that one. Oh.
I mean, come on. Who has a better White Sox stream than this right now?
Right
You know,
now,
one guy shoveling cheese balls in his face, and the other one's opening baseball cards, hoping for a White Sox minor league.
yeah, it's a sad existence, but hey, man, I'm living here. Tyler Whitaker, Joey Weimer of the Biloxi Shuckers, Gabriel Moreno. We've got who is that? Freitas Nova, Misael Urbina. Miranda leads club to victory. No idea. Nick York. And Tristan Cassis, Dustin Harris, and Kyle Manzardo, which Kyle Manzardo, I don't know if you've heard anything about Kyle Manzardo, but that guy, he looks like he's going to be a beast, which is just what the Rays need.
So for this next pack, I'm going to try something different here.
What you got there? You got some Hostess donuts?
So my wife works for Hostess. She's, she's working her way up the ladder here, and she's doing pretty well for herself, but there's new product out there that she just has made me aware of. They've been talking about it called Hostess Bouncers. And these are glazed chocolate ding-dongs, bouncers. And I'm going to go ahead and open this up.
An unveiling, if you will.
Yeah, well, that's, you've seen it here first, folks. This is a Chicago White Sox Daily Live exclusive.
Don't let Yohan see
Hostess
those.
Bouncers, glazed chocolate ding-dongs. They're like mini ding-dongs. They're like little, I don't know. They're like little balls of goodness, it looks like here.
Balls of goodness.
But yeah. Chocolate salty balls.
All right, so we got Mason Wynn, Jackson Job, Owen Casey, Kevin Alcantara. So we got 2 Cubs in a row. Eddie's Leonard.
Come on, baby.
Zach Veen, Robert Hassel, Luis Matos, Hedbert Perez, and Luis Matos. I mean,
Right.
we're getting a lot of good players in here. But, I mean, there might be a couple of image variations here. Oh, look at that. It's a little white heart of nice creamy goodness there in the middle of that thing.
Yeah, the Hostess bouncer. And let me tell you, these things are banging, dude.
Are they good?
My wife working for a place that makes sweets is a bad thing for me, man. We get so much swag, so much sugary swag.
Yeah, that's bad. All right, so got a
I'm
AAA
getting really
stolen
hot
base
here too, by the
leaders.
way. I'm gonna take off 2 of these hats.
Oh, it's getting hot.
Yeah, thanks, Rudolphs, for hitting us with a triple play of hats off.
Well, she better because he's gonna need his heart transplant with eating all that stuff, right?
Right.
All right, Alejandro Pa, Max Muncy, not the one on the Dodgers, but the one on the A's. Aaron Zavala, Kyron Paris, Alan Serda, and Brian Buelvas.
All right, come on.
All right, we're coming down to the wire
coming.
here. We haven't hit the second auto yet, so let's see. Let's see what we get here. All right, Jorbit Vivas, Jason Dominguez, Benny Montgomery, George Valera, prospect outfielders card, Dustin Harris, Marcelo Meyer, Mick Abel, Alex Ramirez, Michael Escato, and Tyler McDonough.
All right. This is the last of the bouncers.
Ooh, last of the bouncers.
This is the coup de grace right here. Come on, Colson Montgomery.
I'll take a Colas too.
Oh, yeah.
Haven't gotten one of those yet. Johan Rojas, Jefferson Carroll. This guy right here, heck of a catcher. He was on the Brewers system, playing with why am I blanking on his name? The outfielder that they got that's hot stuff. But this guy, he can smack the ball around. Everson Pereira, Gage Workman, Taj Bradley, Kobe Mayo, J.C. Correa, and Jordan Groshans. Getting down to it. We got 2 packs left.
And we're still looking for an auto.
Still looking for an auto. Hopefully I didn't miss it already, but I kind of don't think I did. Oh, I see a good one. Good one. How you Lee. Hey, look at that. Got our Lenny Sosa card.
All right.
So we got
not an auto, but it's
it's not the auto, but hey. Ryan Holgate. There it is. There's our autograph. And it is Benjamin Bailey of the Kannapolis Cannonballers. So we did get a White Sox prospect auto, and I'm into it. So that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll take it.
Not exactly who we were, not the top contender we were hoping for,
not the one that we were hoping for.
Slouch.
But you know what? It's a White Sox prospect, so I'll take it.
Yeah, there you go.
Reginald Preciado, Brennan Davis of the Cubs, Cameron Cawley of the Rangers, and there is the non-auto version of the Benjamin Bailey, which was the one that I saw on the backside when I opened it up. So we got 2 Benjamin Baileys in the same pack. One of them an auto, one of them not.
All right.
All right, let's see what's coming in this last pack here. Let's hope for some sort of a variation card or something. Prospect second baseman, Nick Gonzalez, Nick York, and Justin Foscue. And we've got Francisco Alvarez, Brainer Bonacci, Brett Beatty card. He's a big Mets dude. Jose Tena, Ed Howard, former Ace player. Guy everybody wanted the White Sox to draft, and they did not. The Cubs did. James Wood, and Jose Salas. So no Colson and no Colas.
No
No
Colson, no
Ramos.
Colas, no Kath, no
So I'm
Ramos.
I'm probably just gonna have to buy another box, I guess. I mean, that's seems like the only way around this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So there we have it. We got most of the White Sox. Actually, we got about half the White Sox in the set in this run. We got Elijah Tatis, Lenyn Sosa, Benjamin Bailey, Jose Rodriguez, and Yoelqui Cespedes. We are missing Colas, Kath, Montgomery, and Ramos. Those are the four that we are missing out of the set. So
the four we would have liked to see one of the most.
yeah,
But
well,
you can't be mad about that.
I got my, I got the Popeye, I got the Lenyn Sosa. I'm happy with, I'm happy with it. I would have, liked to have gotten those, but that'll just have to wait till next time. So, James Shields autograph. Oh yeah, that's a good idea. So thanks for coming and hanging out, guys. There you have it. There is the entirety of that box. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for coming and watching. Thanks for commenting. Chat was real nice tonight. We appreciate you guys coming in and hanging out. That was a lot of fun. Thank you for coming in and commenting. And thanks for watching. We appreciate it.
I had to get that last one in there, didn't you, Grim?
Dang it. I don't know if I have another hat in here. I think
I'm just cycling through the three I got here because you guys see my diet here. Cheese balls and Hostess bouncers. I'm not gonna get up and run around the house like Ian. Feel? Yeah, dig. So I'm cycling through hats, but I will make sure to load up. Make sure I have some close at hand.
Project Birmingham in effect. Things.
Bingo, bango. I like that one.
Yeah, it's a good one.
That's pretty snazzy.
Yeah, so thanks for coming and hanging out, guys. Appreciate it. And we're going to sign off for the week. We'll be back on next week. I'm sure there'll be something awesome to talk about because there will actually have been games by then. So thank you so much for coming and hanging out, and we will talk to you guys soon next Monday, or next Tuesday. Sorry, not Mondays anymore. Tuesdays because of baseball until later on this season. So thanks so much, guys. We appreciate it, and we will talk to you guys next week. Thanks.